the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Yetzer?
Yeah, this isn't on the agenda. It's relatively new news. At the end of the week, last week, we learned that Jim Fox was named the 2026 Indiana Association of School Principals District 6 Elementary Principal of the Year. We're excited for Mr. Fox and his impact. Mrs. Moulton has a report later in the meeting on one of his, to use your guys' lingo, KPIs is the third grade reading test, and we've made some significant move on that over the last couple of years. Jim's, his role in the district, I appreciate his leadership. We, sometimes think back to, the difficulty around, leading Montpeliers. We were there near the end and making those decisions. The grace with which he did that, and then stepping into the role of Blackford Intermediate School. We appreciate his leadership. He's a guy that pours into our community beyond the school, through his work in various different youth sports and food pantries and all of those different things. And I'm really proud to have him on our team. Thankful to the administration that came before me that hired Jim Fox and brought him in. But just really thankful for him and his impact. Leslie, I'm going to put you on the spot. Anything after working with Jim for a year?
No, I think Jim is terrific. He's very vested in the community. I appreciate how he has heart for the students and the families here, and that was pretty evident to me very early in coming in. I will say one other special thing about this recognition is that your colleagues nominate you for this particular award. So I don't know if Jim knows who nominated him. I don't. He may find out at some point, but it is pretty special when other principals or assistants that you work with nominate you and recognize your excellence. So congratulations, Mr. Fox.
Thank you.
Do you need help building a billboard we're gonna put down there?
We don't need to promote any anymore.
Well, that way I know the kids get your yard instead of my yard with toilet paper. How about that?
Yeah. Keep the toilet paper in your yard, away from mine.
There you go. There you go. Board, any other questions or comments?
Hey, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Well deserved.
This
Did Chad Dodge might happen? Did he nominate you and you nominate him?
It's funny because I didn't even know that had come out. And I got a text message from somebody and they said, "Hey, congratulations." And I said, "What are you talking about?" I thought he was a jokester kind of guy. And next thing I know, I'm getting a wave of text messages. Like, what is happening here? And then it was real. But yeah, just driving up here tonight. Obviously we weren't planning on coming. The baseball game got canceled, and so I called Mr. Answer. I said, "Hey, we're available." And but driving from the house over to here, I thought about when Michelle and I came here 11 years ago, and I stood right here, and you guys nominated me in to be an administrator here. And I don't know, that wave of memory just hit me, and just think about all the kids we've impacted in a positive way. And Jace even said something about Montpelier School, and I was very fortunate that I've had all three of my children that I've been able to raise at my school. And now I'm kind of empty nester at the elementary don't have my kids, but I've got 400 and how many of them that will call me, call me dad, maybe not, but just hug me. But I'm just so appreciative of everything Blackford County Schools has offered me and my family, and I can't say that enough. So thank you.
Well deserved.
Yeah, we're thankful for you being here. Yeah, it was a quick pivot. He told me yesterday, I'd asked him to come out. He goes, "Hey, we got ball game." I said, "We'll come in June," and then it got rained out, so we threw it together here real quick. But we definitely want to publicly thank him, and we'll put some stuff on the gossip book in the next day or two and get that out there for him. And we just appreciate your leadership and good luck. It's May, so it's a little crazy here the last couple of days of school, but appreciate it. Jim, Michelle, Jace, you guys are welcome to stick around. We got a great set of policy review. But you can go if you'd like. Thank you.
Got a free night. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it.
Get out of here. All right, thank you.
Congratulations.
Next up, we have the fire and agent construction report.
I'm going in. Kyle had his first son last week, so if I don't do as good, he'll be back. A lot of stuff going on out there. We've got a lot of masonry going up, so we're going vertical right now. It's gonna look like nothing's happening here for a short time period, but in June, the box of the building is really gonna start forming. Panels are all prefabricated off-site, so they'll come in and they tilt them up, and then the geometry is really there. So we got some dates here. The risers will be coming in the next 2 weeks. They're horizontal, so they really won't see them. That's where the seats will sit for the auditorium shape. And then right now it's concrete slabs and the seating that's going on. So, and I think there are some really good drone photos too that are probably better than our team iPhone photos.
We'll say the drone shots trail by about a week and a half. And if you've been by the facility on the north side, the masonry has really exploded since these pics were taken.
Yeah, so all the masonry you're seeing right now is load bearing. I mean, like way back here, this is where the dressing rooms will be. So right now you don't see that, but eventually we'll walk into dressing rooms. We set concrete on top of it for mechanical units that'll serve that back of house space. There's a tall wall right here with several diagonal walls that go forward. That's where the auditorium seats will be. And this back wall is like going to be the kind of the new face of when you drive into that entry is what you'll see.
So the pile of dirt came from, I'm assuming, where you dug out to put that structure, and then are we putting that in that back corner to level that out some, or I mean, back corner by the bus barn, or where's that dirt going?
So this is all. So this is all just stabilized. We got this seed in early, hoping it would stabilize before summer hit, which is doing pretty good. This dirt we'll use to raise all this pads. Once all this asphalt's out, this dirt we think will need to fill in where the stone and the asphalt comes out. Okay. So we will lose that on site. That's just what they think that they need. The rest is gone. So they just have what they thought they would need. Yeah, and so summer we're here in a week and a half, 2 weeks. We've got some work going on in the school. We'll have fire suppression lines that come from really across the school all the way. So the auditorium, we've got some mechanical piping.
That wall right there in the front, is that like that's going right into the auditorium itself, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the outer wall's not started yet.
You're right. Yeah. So we've still got an outside wall that'll be decorative, and there'll be an awning. So where the steel is, if you are in this entry, this is where you will walk into the auditorium and kind of go around the theater like you would in a movie theater or something. Yeah. So.
Yeah, the exterior wall. That's a better view of it, Beth. That next picture, the exterior of it, Troy, will be all the way where you see that footer.
Yeah, I saw the footer, and I thought that's the way it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I think since then they poured I sent you guys a picture of that. They poured the stage wall so you can really start to sense and feel. And there's several more pads since those might be a week and a half old.
Yeah, I was out there just a couple of days ago on my bike, and I mean, the front wall's up, and about halfway back, there's masonry, it seems.
Yeah. Yeah.
Weather not holding you up too much?
I've had quite a few rain days, but we got to figure it out. We got big days, so overtime and weekends is what we do. The Hagerman, the Mason's been doing pretty good keeping up. So the crucial date will be dry-in, which is end of summer, and that really is the key to our interior finishes, which is the hard part of this project. So.
Just continue to appreciate the communication. This group, then with our architect, it's just had good communication throughout, and we'll continue, to give you guys updates monthly. Any questions for Harrison before we come to police? Thank you.
Appreciate it, Lord, and thank you, everyone. Take care.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Next up, any audience input on tonight's agenda items?
Is there a policy review tonight? Because that is one of the things I wanted to touch on. That's why we came.
There's a first reading. It's going to be our first time seeing it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'll be later. Yeah, there's specific policies tonight, not our entire policy manual, and there's also handbooks. So if you're, yeah, I don't know why you're here, but
Yeah.
if it's around those things, you can give comment now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All like one of the things, and I just want to throw this out there for something for future reference, because we've had issues with specifically the 504 accommodation for one of our kids. And it's been ongoing since initiation last year. And it's really more about communication and I would just like to see like some really solid policy put into place as far as like the lines of communication. And I don't know if you've been in on like any of the calls we've had with some of the issues we've had. But I feel like all the issues could be solved if there was really clear lines of communication when it comes to any of these accommodations, which, you know, some of them are so minor and then some of them are very detailed. Ours thankfully is pretty simple and minor for our daughter, but you know, those littlest differences make a really big impact when it comes to grades, which when they go on to college, it genuinely does affect every aspect of their future. So that is one of my concerns that I would really like to see improved upon with policy. Because when I question the policy, the specific policies regarding the issues with communication, I've never gotten clear and concise answers, which to me tells me there isn't one in place. So I would just like to propose that be added to anything for the upcoming years.
Yeah, I don't know that you and I've had any direct communication
No,
about this, so
and it's
I-
because it's just been general,
Okay.
like, and I dealt a lot with Mr. Ridge, like,
Yeah.
and I have had several conversations, and from the conversations I've had directly with the staff, what I've gathered is that it's just, I think it all comes down to communication.
and it's specifically around accommodations in a 504.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me reach out to Elena and if you're comfortable
Absolutely. Yeah.
and get an opportunity for you to come in so I can get right into
Yeah.
what some of your concerns are.
Yeah,
Maybe
it
get a
is.
little more
And like I said, it's just, it's simple, like, and not having that presented to me when I questioned it is to me a red flag. And like I said, our daughter's is very simple accommodations. We didn't even, it's not something we even initiated out the gate with her diagnosis because she does okay. You know, there's nothing that's severely debilitating for her. But that not being into place for her has made me question, you know, like what about kids that do require more, that don't necessarily need IEPs, but also require accommodations for it. So,
Right.
Yeah. And I think that especially when it's a diagnosis that is not so clearly visible, that it makes it harder for people to understand. So I even took it upon myself to try to reach out to her individual teachers, and sometimes it lands well, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
And it's been, like I said, it's been an ongoing issue that I just think needs, the only way to fix it in my opinion is through solid policy. So
Yeah, and policy and then the procedures to go along with that. I'd like, if you're comfortable, I'd encourage the board, let me get a meeting set with you guys so I understand the more of the specific concerns, and I'll pull together what we do have around 504.
Okay.
You know, I will say I'm not getting a lot of questions about this, you know, right now. So it's good to put it back on my radar, and, you know, we can take a look.
well,
at it
and just to clarify too,
Yeah.
like they have provided me with like general 504 policy, which I'm aware of, but it's more so the lines of communication once that 504 is put into place, like how it's effectively communicated to the instructors, to the teachers, to the staff. That's where the issue resides.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would be very interested in exploring this further
Okay.
with you.
Yeah.
Just for the board's refresh or reminder, we have students who qualify for individualized education plans. So that's one level of protection under the law. And then there are other students who qualify for what's called a 504. And there's a variety of different reasons, you know, why a 504 might be implemented instead of or in lieu of an IEP. So they're not the exact same thing. They're under different protections of law. They're two different categories of support plans. for students that have additional challenges or additional needs. If you hadn't heard, we don't talk about 504s a lot at the board level, but it's, I would say, similar to an IEP, but not exactly the same thing and under different protections law. Leslie, any other thoughts or comments on this?
Sometimes the 504 can be temporary. So
Yeah.
if you have a student who, broke their leg and they need accommodations because they're in a wheelchair or something, sometimes it can be things that are more long lasting. 504 accommodations are typically put in place if they don't qualify under that Article 7, which is the special education law. So, but they still have things, the way it was explained to me when I first was training on this is that it helps kind of level the playing field for students a little bit if they just have some specific needs and kind of just like helping them stay afloat if they have medical concerns. So, yeah.
But if I heard what you were saying correctly, it's the communication.
The lack of what I feel.
Is it the communication from administration to the teachers, or is it the communication from the teachers going home?
No, it is the communication so like when there is a 504 put into place, there's very specific details. Like, for example, our daughter, she has juvenile arthritis. So she like physically struggles like with her joints and mobility. So one of the things on her 504 is to allow extra time between classes. One of them is to allow extra time for assignments and for test taking. She has a hard time writing. So, it's to accommodate stuff like that, like stuff with absences, stuff like that. She has some excessive absenteeism due to her diagnosis. So those are just examples. And the 504, like as far as, the meetings and everything, establishing the 504, we've had no issues with that. They were on top of it. They did great. Once I reached out, got the documentation sent, like all of that was great. But following that initiation of the 504, the communication from whoever is in charge of that communication to each direct staff that has said students, it's that communication where I see is lacking. I'm not blaming anybody for it. I want to be clear on
Always
that.
areas for improvement.
Yeah, and I don't think it's like, I think it all just comes down to, I don't think there is a very clear instructions on how these accommodations, because they're different for every student, are communicated directly to the staff. And there should be, like, it's a big deal. So there should be very clear rules and guidelines and policies for that communication to take place. That's always the same.
So am I understanding you correctly? You're saying they're not being accommodated? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
They were not. That is.
I just want to be clear on what you're saying.
And it has been fixed. Yes, they were not accommodated.
They were not, but they are now.
Usually, I will say this. I do feel like when the staff understands, which unfortunately has been because of our advocacy for our daughter at times, once they do have that clear and concise understanding, I do feel like the staff, because they're there to teach and to do their job, like they do care and do their best. But even when it's been communicated at times, there's not always an understanding because that hasn't been brought to their attention prior to me addressing it. And that's unacceptable. This is something that every teacher should be fully aware of out of the gate, in my opinion. The students, like, one of my biggest issues was that our daughter was told, oh, well, you need to say something. And like, no, she doesn't. That's the whole intent and purpose of a 504 accommodation, is to not draw attention to their disadvantage. So she should not have to get in front of her peers and in front of her teachers and say, hey, you're supposed to do this because I have something wrong with me. That's not okay, in my opinion. So
Yeah, very respectfully, and I appreciate you coming through. Are you comfortable if to continue this conversation?
Absolutely,
I reach out directly to you and
and like I
get
said,
time.
that's the only reason I came tonight. It's not to place blame or for blame. It's just something I want fixed with policy.
It's an area where, anytime you, like I said, it's not in front of us a lot in terms of concerns around it. We have 504 coordinators in each of the buildings that have this, so there's an area that we just need to get a look at, and I'll get some more details about it. So I think you and I've emailed in the past, so I'll get an email, or Beth will send you an email. We'll get you in so I can learn more details on that. And I'll share you with you what the expectation is. And if we have failed to meet our expectation, that's a piece for us to continue to work on.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go right into the consent agenda. First off, is there anything anyone would like removed from the consent agenda? Not, the consent agenda has last month's meeting minutes. We also have claims totaling $1,626,545.38. We have a very, very long list of donations. Very fortunate for the community support there. We also have a few professional development requests, and we have our monthly transfer from the education fund to the operations fund to $140,000.
So there's also an addendum at your side.
Yep. We also have in the addendum, we have more donations, and we have 8 additional personnel items to put on the agenda. Any questions or comments on the consent agenda? Not, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
Those in favor? Motion carries 4-0. Next up, we do have the personnel report. Mr. Yentzer?
Yeah, personnel report is presented. Just wanted to thank, we have one, it's listed as a resignation, but it's actually his second retirement. Dr. Biddle, after retiring from the district, was brought back a few years ago and has worked in our junior high the past couple of years, and he's hanging it up for good this year. So we want to wish him the best and appreciate his service. And then, yeah, the also on appointments, kind of moving forward with technology to restructure. We've got Taylor Dillon, who's served as an on-site tech under 5-star. Is being released from her contract with them, and we'd like to bring her on staff July 1 as a full-time BCS employee as we sever that agreement and bring those costs in-house. So,
Is she one of the?
she's not. No, she's not one of them. She's been serving here for us, I think, the past 4 years as a tech for 5-star.
Questions for on the personnel items? Not, to have a motion to approve?
A second.
Those in favor? Motion carries 4-0. Next up, we have the junior senior high school student handbook.
Thank you for having me out here tonight. Just want to let you know there are not that many significant changes coming to you this year. The one major one is the update on the cell phone policy, and that's in compliance with the state of Indiana, the new law that they have passed. All schools across the state of Indiana are going no cell, bell to bell. So that's when the school day starts at 8 o'clock until the school day ends at 3:08. Cell phones will be turned off and put into their lockers. So they won't have them at lunch. They won't have them at passing periods. That is new state law. So we will be in compliance with that. And so we have updated our cell phone policy to match the new state expectations for those new rules coming down. We have updated our new it says requirements for attending prom. It's our dance policy. Mr. Ridge and I had a conversation about this. Our dance policy was stricter than our athletic policy to play sports. So we made that more in the line to be comparable. So if you right now it says that if you have one F, you can go to a dance. But if you have more than one F, then you cannot go to a dance. But athletics, if you have 2Fs, then you can play athletics. So we are going to be more aligned with that. So if you have 6 or 7 classes that you're enrolled in, then you can have 2Fs. But if you have 5 or under, then you can just have the 1F. And that's roughly about 70% of the classes you have to be passing to attend our dances. So we just made that slight change just to align more with comparable to athletics. Because Mr. Ridge didn't want our athletic policy to be stricter than what our dance policy would be. And that came to us from our student council. They approached us with that because we were encouraging our students to advocate for different policies that they wanted to change. And that was one that they had brought to us earlier on in the school year. So it actually originated from the students. And that's one that we were like, okay, makes sense. So we agreed with them and we allowed the students to initiate that change for the student handbook. So the other part of that, last thing is just dates and formatting changes. Not a lot. So really no significant changes other than following the state policy on the no cell phones.
Got a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. You finish up.
And I was going to tell you that the cell phones, I think we're going to be okay. We've already been talking to the kids about it. Lunchtime is going to be a difficult one because they're used to having them in lunchtime. Maybe passing periods a little bit, but with anything, the parents are going to be the more difficult ones because they want to text their kids throughout the day. But you know, if a student needs to contact their parents, each of the classrooms have a telephone. They can say, hey, I need to call my mom real quick. And we'll tell the teachers, you know, at the end of the class period, if a student needs to contact, go use the phone and call them and say, hey, mom, practice is canceled, you know, or hey, mom, I need picked up, you know.
Like it was when we were in school.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be flexible. I mean, we don't have a payphone down in, you know, outside the cafeteria anymore, but every classroom, you know, lounge. I mean,
I looked at the policy to a point as far as I know the state, there are times when students can't have them, certain situations.
Oh, absolutely. Medical.
Certain needs.
Yeah,
My
diabetic.
question is, did the state give guidelines on if a student is a repeat offender of not putting the phone away? Because that's my concern, is they're telling us we have to enforce this, but they're not telling us what we do if they don't.
There's no, they won't ever speak into what the school level discipline is. So, Karen, I don't know if you have a committed memory, but we basically are going into next year treating the warning like everybody's going to be warned at the start. We're going to do some communication before the start of school. And if you could go through off the top of your head where it's a progressive ladder discipline and
okay, that's all I need to know is if we've got something written down because my other thing is, I think you touched on, is we need to make sure the message before school starts, hey, this is the state's policy.
Yeah.
We are having to enforce it.
Yeah.
That's not our idea.
We did not. It's the same as what it was this year, because right now it's we say no cell bell to bell. It kind of changes a little bit. Bell to bell to us right now means when the bell rings for class to start and when the bell rings to go in the class. So the wording will change just a little bit. So if we have a cell phone violation, the only difference we change is the first one was always a warning. Right. Well, you're going to walk in with a warning because we're going to tell you first day. Okay. So that's going to be your warning. So it's 30-minute detention, 30-minute detention, 60-minute detention, and then you go to in-school suspension. And then if parent meetings after that, and then you are allowed to get your phone back on the first 3. And then if it continues to be a problem, then your parent's going to have to come in because we need to have a talk about this. This is a recurring problem. We're going to fix it. Figure out a way to fix it, you know, and sometimes if a student has been in ISS for it, what I've done is, like, when I talk to the parent, I'll be like, how about this? We'll have the student drop their cell phone off in the morning because it becomes such an issue. So we have some other things that we could do like that. I mean, so we try to be proactive on those, but yeah,
I have a quick question regarding that, which I fully support. I'm super excited about that. I hate the cell phones. I think they really inhibit education, in my opinion. But the backpacks, because like my girls don't even use their lockers. So are they still going to allow the backpacks all day between every class?
Yes,
because I feel like that's where the students are going to be tucking.
we're not changing the backpack policy. But we are going to tell them, because it's no bells or no cell bell to bell, that we expect them to be in the locker.
Yeah.
But we're not going to allow you to have them in your pocket,
Yeah.
because then you're going to try and connect them to your Bluetooth, and then you're going to, no Bluetooth.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
just foresee them trying to hide
watches,
them
I
in
mean,
the bags. Yeah.
Our expectation is that it's in the locker, because you get new lockers at the beginning of the year. All of them have new combinations, so it's secure until you give your locker combination out.
So something else.
Yeah. So, I mean, and then if,
So that makes sense. I was just
Yeah.
curious.
we're not changing the backpack policy. So they still have their backpacks.
And I'm super excited about this as well.
We are too, and it's
But
going to be
I
great.
do have a question, and it is a serious question. What are we going to do about teachers that aren't enforcing? Because I know that we have teachers now that don't enforce. And so are they going to get 30-minute detentions? I mean, we have to have a way to hold the teachers accountable.
I'm gonna jump in here. I do agree. I think this is an opportunity, respectfully, just like any employer, we have issues with employee use of cell phone during paid time, so it's a launch board to have some of those hard conversations with some of our people. But yes, I think, I'd actually we're going to share that at the end of the year. There's a modeling aspect of this, that I think as my phone sits right there and wants me to pick it up, that we as adults have to model, and we have to, level that expectation. And then I do believe on our administrative teams, when they know that teachers are not compliant with this expectation, it's going to be, we're restricted enough where there's only going to be a handful. We have some kids that have, like, let's say, a diabetic pump that reads off their cell phone. That kid's going to have their cell phone, but we're going to ask them to respect the letter of the rule. You got that, so it's got the connection, to your monitoring. But they should be out, and they should be out of sight, and that's going to be the expectation. So I would anticipate the board's going to hear they're being hard on that at the start of the year, but I think that's how we have to be.
When I go and advocate for my 14-year-old that has a 504 and an IEP, and Roblox is her therapy, I'm hoping we're going to let her have her phone so she can play Roblox when she gets anxious. That's what we're going to hear.
That is what we're hearing.
I thought you were being serious.
Yeah.
Oh, I
heard
the robot. No doctor would write that.
I thought you were being serious. I was like, well, maybe in the guidance office, out of sight.
I took her phone away yesterday.
Okay.
And let's say I took everything away, and obviously the situation,
Yeah.
and that's what she tried to tell me. That's her therapy. I think my new therapy.
I think one thing you can lean on. There are a lot of work environments where this is just not going to be acceptable for you to be on. So we'll lean on that as well. And it's just a reset.
And then, are we worried about our test scores? Are we worried about, because I think you're going to see a dip at first, but then I think I think you're going to see a flip in it. They're not going to have AI. What is it called? Question AI that they use now.
Oh, they'll still have
They
their
just take
they'll
pictures
still
of
have
it.
their Chromebook.
They'll take pictures. No, they take pictures of it, and it just tells them the answer for their homework. They can do it rather.
Every school that went more aggressive than we did this year, and went ahead and went to this, you listen to them. It's just a reversion back to, what it was before. So I think it'll be good.
We all like it. I'm good with it.
I am too.
There are days now that I still walk through the hallways, and I'll just walk into a classroom, and if I see a cell phone, I'll just take it. And occasionally I do it, but I don't have to do it very often. So they're usually very compliant. But thank you very much. That's all I have for you.
That'd be a good thing to do. Set up some teachers intentionally, and you walk in, you catch them and then take it. Take the teachers. And so the kids, wow, they're serious.
I think we will start really heavy on it with our students. Like, it's going to take a lot of consistency, and we're going to have to set the tone early in the year that this is not going to be acceptable. Once they start finding their friends who are able to do it, then it'll just snowball from there. So,
And the word consistency, that is so important in it. for the kids, I think. Because if you have some teachers that are being more lenient and others that are like super hard, that upsets the kids and it doesn't, it's not productive.
Thanks, Mrs. Neal.
Any other questions for the junior senior high school handbook? Not to have a motion approved.
So moved. Second.
Those in favor? Motion carries 4-0. Next up, we have the intermediate and primary school handbook. Mr. Gabriel?
So we don't have a lot of changes either. The main one is the cell phone ban as well. So we don't have as many issues with it in either of our buildings. The main issue that we kind of face with cell phones is student goes to the nurse. They don't like that the nurse isn't sending them home. So they go to locker and text or call mom or dad to come and pick them up. So that's kind of the biggest issue we have. We have a parent coming saying their child is sick. And we're like, well, how did you find out your child's sick? We didn't send them home. And then that's kind of where we find the biggest issue with cell phones. So updating the cell phone policy, updated dress code. I really only changed one thing. I added no spandex. We don't really have an issue with it. We've enforced that. I just realized it wasn't in our dress code. So I just wanted to add it to be safe. Something we enforce already. So I just went ahead and added it. And then again, we updated dates and formatting as well. So those are the only changes that Sarah and I made.
Questions?
What do you mean by spandex?
Like volleyball shorts. Some girls would come, like when they had volleyball games, they came in their uniform.
Okay.
So
Bicycle shorts.
Shorts.
Like spandex and then leggings or just the shorts?
The shorts.
The shorts,
Mhm.
okay, that makes sense.
All right. We have a motion to approve.
So move.
A second.
I'll second.
Those in favor? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you. And that brings us to the 5-Star Technology Solutions Agreement.
So we talked about the technology restructure. 5-Star's our partner. We've got them to whittle the contract down to just network support. That's $3,000. Here, one ahead. There's $3,000 a month. It's a 3-year contract. And essentially, for $36,000 a year, we're contracting a team of network engineers, for support. Very comfortable. 5-Star's been good in the exit, releasing the employee that we wanted to hire and modifying the agreement. The contract really would have held us to the current $16,000 or $17,000 a month through the end of the school year. So they've negotiated that down with this. So this will take place July 1st. We'll move back to this contract.
You said it's a 3-year contract?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was trying to find the dates, but
Yeah, it's through starts July 1, 26 up June 30th, 2029.
It's firm through 3 years, 3,000.
Yep. When we had, if you'll remember, we had 4 other managed service partners bid, and this was by far also the best price bid we got as well.
Any other questions for Mr. Yetzer? Not motion approved.
So move.
Or second?
Second, cool.
Those in favor? Motion carries 4-0.
Who was the second? I'm sorry, I asked a question right when you were talking. Troy was second.
Next up, we have the concrete project at the primary school.
Can you pull that tab up real quick? It's the primary school. We are adding the employee daycare next year. And to give you a little bit of an idea where this is going to be located in this building, we're over at the top of Blackford Primary School. This is the wing that comes straight back, the current 2nd grade wing. There's an art room in there that has exterior. The fire marshal liked that. One of the concerns that we had is if you imagine now that we've got daycare, we're around toddlers in that room. And in the event of an evacuation or whatever, Leslie and her crew bought a mobile crib, we're throwing babies in the crib and running them out the door. There's just a little concrete
perch here. We want to run a sidewalk all this way back out to the parking lot so that, in the event that we did need to evacuate that also might help us with dismissal and those things. What's in your board pack, John and I and Leslie, we're looking at that. We've got one quote so far. It's a quote for 10,000. You had that up there, a little over $10,000. She's got the exact amount. So I'm requesting approval not to exceed. We want to get 3 quotes on this job, but we feel like this is probably going to be a very competitive quote. But what I'm asking the board to approve tonight is a not to exceed $10,755 to run that sidewalk out. And then that'll give me the authority, if we get a lower quote, to go ahead and move with that and get it moving over the summer.
The 10 by 5, I'm assuming is right out the door, and then the other 152 feet is the rest of the way.
Yeah. Yep. Leslie, anything else on that?
It will just enable us to evacuate infants quickly. Hopefully we never need to do that.
You guys have verified the crib makes it through the door, right? I know that sounds like a stupid question, but
it's big. It's a 36-inch door there.
When we built our facility, they made us, the fire marshal made us have sidewalks on the new facility.
Yeah.
From every exit door.
Yeah.
Or gravel. You can use gravel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a requirement.
No.
We do have to do this.
Any other questions? We have a motion to approve and not to exceed $10,755 for concrete work.
so move.
Second.
Second.
Those in favor? Motion carries 4-0. All right, that takes us through our action items. Next up, we have our first reading on school board policy.
Yeah, so I shared this out a week or so ago. Most of these have pretty minor changes. I did think I wanted to accent the F-101 budget adoption implementation. That is a new policy. Nothing too controversial with that one. It basically adds in that the board has authority to manage the financial affairs of the district, and then it also states that our treasurer works with our superintendent to facilitate budget, which primarily that is our superintendent, but he consults with her as needed. So that's a new policy. Just wanted to make sure you were aware of that. And then the other one I wanted to be sure we looked at tonight is the wireless communication device. And just a reminder, like, we think about this in terms of cell phones, but it does encompass more than just cell phones. So I think that gets a little bit challenging, like smartwatches and those types of things. Like we talked earlier, I think we hit that pretty hard. We'll be communicating lots of signage, lots of social media posts, emails, letters, like just informing our parents. And when they do their back to school meetings, they're going to hit that hard with our students as well. So you heard Mrs. Mealy share that the junior, senior high, they were expecting those to be stored away in lockers. Districts could choose one of two ways to go with this. They could either choose to not let students bring their cell phones into the building at all, or to keep them powered down and stored away. And that's the way we are wanting to go, just because we know a lot of kids have after school events and they need their phones after school to get their rides or communicate. So yeah, it's all pretty cut and dry on how that's going to work. So we're going to implement it with the handbooks. I don't think there were any others.
There's one other I'd like to go back
Okay.
to. Policy A, the public records. This has been an interesting change for us, Leslie and I and Mr. Murphy, along with our Church Hiddle and Antrim people. That's our policy advisors that helped us rewrite all the board policies.
in the first 7 or 8 years that I was your superintendent, we might have averaged 2 or 3 public requests for information a year. And we've probably had a dozen to 15 this year. And what I believe is happening, I think there's some AI enabling, and what's happening to us a lot are out of state companies are trying to get salary data and information data because we are a public entity and those things are publicly, but they're trying to use it for work and business related, ventures. They're requesting like our contracts with all of our curriculum companies and those things, and they're not entities. This law was built, for parents or community members that had concerns around information that should be public record to be able to request that. But what's happening is we're having a proliferation of requests. My superintendent's groups are talking about this. It's just increasing. I've had 2 this week. It's Tuesday, and they're this type of thing. So what we've done, and the law is starting to shift on that. There's a position in Indiana called the public access calendar or public access counselor. It's an attorney that advises the state on these issues of which things are. So we've, in that policy, created a fee for doing that where we can estimate the time and try to slow that a little down. It's an odd law. We don't have to create a record that they request, but if we have a record that has that, like for example, the one this week asked for a listing of all employees, their job titles, their salaries, and their email addresses. We don't have a document that has all of those things together. We're not legally required to do that, so we were able to reply. Steve Murphy and I are working on some templated letters because we've been handling each one individually to start to do this. This is a personal point of just frustration for me because I think people are trying to take advantage of a law, but I wanted you to know the fee can be waived. Like if a local parent were to make a legitimate request for access to documents they legally have access to, we can waive the fee. I don't want to charge someone.
Right. I was going to recommend that, make sure that we have a way that we don't have to charge for local parents that are involved.
What the policy specifically states is if it's an out of state, I wanted to make sure you saw that, and I just wanted to share this frustration because it's increasing in volume.
I think there's one more I just wanted to mention too, because I think it makes our school safer when it comes to medical. That's the C525 medical needs. And the main thing that this policy does, we're already required to train our coaches on AEDs, and it's called covered activity leaders. So those are coaches or sponsors of activities that have an increased risk of sudden cardiac arrest. So we're already training those folks on AEDs, but now we are required to keep those certificates on file. And then the other thing it requires is that you develop a venue-specific action plan for sudden cardiac arrest. So, you would have a plan for your baseball field, your new performing arts center. You kind of have specific venue, because it's not going to look the same. The AEDs aren't located in the same place everywhere. If it's different in the cafeteria than it might be in the gym. And so that's something that we will be working with Mrs. Fox, our nurse, on to make sure we get updated. I think it's a great idea. Are there any others that you guys wanted to discuss or bring up for the first reading? Okay. If not, then we will bring those back to the June meeting and recommend a vote on those at that time.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have some discussion items. our monthly financial update, Mr. Gensler.
Yeah, you just provided as we do monthly. April was a 3-pay month, so expenses were very high across the district. You see the education fund balance is still well above the target balance. Operation has dipped below our target balance, but as a reminder, this is the first year where we've had the board policy for a target balance. And remember, the operations fund gets replenished in June and December with property tax draws. So we'll continue to see that run down and even into the negative right before the late June tax draw to help them move to help replenish that fund. It's also a little lower because we chose not to transfer money in January to help level out the overspend of the ed fund.
Any questions on the update?
I sent the board also on this vein a video or an email regarding the number of positions that we are reducing due to retirements or resignations. So we're actively, and I'll give you an update in June. My plan on that after the June reconciliation, the July board meeting, is give you an update of where we're headed, on that ed fund reduction.
Next up, we have an update on the Bruin beginnings.
Yes, so this is Myron and I have been continue to learn a lot about daycare and infants and toddlers. We're in the process of getting that daycare license. We are starting to get more children signed up as the vouchers come available. That's kind of phasing in. We're finalizing some of those plans like the concrete work and trying to get some estimates for fence and some things like that. I'm in the process of writing a grant through the community foundation to try to help with some of the startup costs for that. So we're hoping that will work out for us. But we were really excited. So we are kind of on this newsletter thread, and there was a daycare in Muncie, New Beginnings Daycare, affiliated with Illuminate Muncie Church, and they have closed, and they were trying to liquidate cribs and all kinds of things that we were going to need to go out and purchase. And so we met up with the staff there and probably saved the district a few $1,000s by buying some things that were lightly used and in really good shape. So 5 cribs, 2 which are the evacuation ones, and several shelves and just things that were nice in good condition that we needed. So we took the trailer down and loaded it up and we've got it here ready to go. So we're making progress.
Thank you for the support of that program. We really think it'll be a valuable recruitment and retention piece for us. Is where we're up to.
I cannot tell you that.
You
I
tell
thought
me, it's all right.
earlier I should have told you how many. It's hard because we have some who are committed if they get approved for the voucher. So
Great.
we're still kind of in limbo.
I guess let me ask you this. How many are you kind of expecting at this point?
I would say probably 5 to 7.
Good.
And it may be upward of 9 or 10.
It'll increase if we get the voucher approval.
Right.
We have some of our hourly employees that will qualify for those vouchers, and if that comes through, it'll swell up a
really
little.
increase. And I do think we expect this year to start small and then pick up steam. I think it will just grow and grow, which is maybe a good thing. It'll help us figure all the kinks out before we get too big.
Well, it's a good thing to offer new employees. I mean, or an option that other school districts might not have.
100%. We're going to be promoting it as we go into hiring season.
Yeah, thank you.
What's the cap as far as a male?
Well, it's interesting. The fire marshal approved us like 30 kids in that room, which there's no way we have 30 children in that room, but there are ratios for the number of infants you can have and infants to staff. It's 5 to 1, but then you can have up to 12 kids in one room if you have infants in here, which would require three staff members if you were over 10. So I think 12 would probably be, a good number to cap it at, but
Depends on the mix of infants.
And it does depend too. I mean, if you have 12 infants, that's a lot different than having 5 and 7 toddlers or 3 kids that are just turning 3. That's so different from a 6-week-old.
One of the things, I don't know how you've promoted it, but with some of the teachers, I think is really, really important. They hear the $30 a day or the, the 150 a week. And it seems like, and that's a lot because every 2 weeks, $300. And that leaves me, $350 if I don't have the school insurance. If I have school insurance, I'm gonna have to pay the school to work, right? But one of the things I tried to explain to them, and I did this with my own daughter, is she's currently paying $140 a week. She has to pay that all year. And so we did the math, and because she's not gonna have to pay for spring break, she's not gonna have to pay for the summer, Christmas break. She's actually was gonna save about $4,500.
Oh, wow. That's good
For the year.
We've tried to communicate
That
that
can't be
it'll just be based on 185 school days.
Well, if you're not paying over the summer.
Yeah, she's not paying over the summer
You
or
would
the
be close.
breaks.
I mean, that's
Right, because with any other daycare, you have to pay to keep their place. So whether the child's there or not, you have to pay. And I know we were gonna do that on the days that the teachers work, but they're only in session half a year, well, a little over half a year. So they save.
We've tried to put the word out, but
Okay.
It's a good way to continue
communicate
to
about
target
it.
that. Yeah, target that.
Because that's the savings right there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
You're gonna save.
and the proximity to work.
Yeah, that's nice.
You're not driving to the other side of the county to drop your kids off or.
A lot of our folks that are already committing they're on the BPS staff.
Mhm.
So their babies are going to be in their buildings,
Oh,
their
I bet they
toddlers,
love that.
how great is it that I'm on my lunch and I can run down and, check on my kiddo if they don't have separation anxiety yet.
Mhm.
And I just think it'll be really nice for our staff and teachers. So again, thanks for your support on this. We're really excited about it.
Next up, we have an iRead update.
Okay, so I did prepare a little iRead update for you. 'Cause this is it's just so much work goes into getting our 3rd graders where they need to be in reading. It's just a team effort in both of our buildings to get them there. So I have just some look back data. I guess I'll kind of start with that. Ooh, it feels good. I'm not sitting very well. So, but this is 2nd grade. So let's look at 2nd grade first. This is a couple years ago. We were 37.8% passing. Can I do this, Beth? You can. Okay. And then for whatever reason, 23-24 was a drop. But then last year, we were over state average at 48.5.
Just a quick reminder, this is 2nd grade performance on a 3rd grade exam.
It is. Yeah, and we've been testing them for a few years. It's mandatory now, all 2nd graders in the state. It used to be optional, but that's no longer the case. So we've seen a jump, where and any kid that passes this in 2nd grade doesn't have to take it in 3rd grade. So that's kind of a stress off of those kiddos. So we were, just under half, but above the state average. I wanted to kind of look, I don't know, Beth, if I can. So if we look at last year's 2nd graders and then how our 2nd graders did this year, this is after the first test. So 2nd graders get to take the test 2 times. They all take it the 2nd week of March, and then they can take it either, we're giving some of them that test right now, and then others will take their 2nd try after summer school. So our kiddos that are on track or just barely at risk are retaking it now, and then the rest will retake then. So last year, after our first test, we were at 33.3% for our 2nd graders. This year, well, the other part I wanted you to look at is on track. So these students, they're not expecting to need remediation. They're on track. They didn't pass the 3rd grade test in 2nd grade, but they're doing pretty well where they're on track to do so. You would expect them to be. So we're a little about 44% between those last year. After our first test in second grade this year, we were at 32.1, but we had 16.5% of our kiddos on track. So, you know, 1 less percent passed, but more on track. So that was a good place to be. I cannot give you the final second grade retest scores because they're in the process of it, but I do want to congratulate and recognize Mr. Campbell and his staff because they've retested 18 of the second graders in the last 2 weeks, and they still have about 11 more that they're trying to retest in the next few days. But 17 out of those 18 students that retested have passed on their retest. So that is phenomenal. So last year, when they were all the way done, you know, they were at 49%. And right now, as it sat at 4:00 p.m. today, our second grade pass rate was 47.7. So again, if we get 11 more kiddos to test, they have a good shot, I think, of getting a good handful or more that could potentially pass. So we're really hoping to get that number. We surpassed the state average last year, and we want to surpass it by more this year. And again, just get our kids reading where they need to read. That's what this really, we talk about this in terms of scores, but this is about making sure our second graders are up to grade level in reading. And this is kind of the best way that we have to measure that. So we're proud of our teachers. They pour their hearts into this, and they work so hard with our kids. So that is second grade. So third grade, again, if we kind of do a look back, 22-23, we had 72.5% pass, 77.3% 2 years ago. Last year, we were a little bit higher at 80.8. This year, after our first retest, so all of our third graders that didn't pass have retested, we are currently at 89.4% of our third graders that have passed this iRead test. So if you remember last year, the state put the teeth back into the retention requirement. So last year, those students who do not have a good cause exemption, which usually means through their IEP, the committee decides that they can go on because we have accommodations in place to make up for their reading challenges. That law is back in place. So last year, there were 9 students that were retained in third grade who did not have the good cause exemption through their IEP. And, you always hate to have to hold a third grader back. Nobody wants to do that, but we need them at reading proficiency before they move on. So we're really excited that right now we have only 3 students out of that 10.6% who are at risk for retention. And we're really hoping the third graders take the test 3 times. So they've had 2 takes now, and then they have summer school, and they'll have another opportunity later in June to take it again. So our goal is to, continue getting more kids each time they take that. We are, we want that goal to be 0 students that we have to keep back because of the reading test, but we're definitely making good progress. So again, our interventionists, our third grade teachers, it's just a whole team of folks that work hard to get this where it is. And last year, the state average was 87.4. So we don't know what it is yet this year, but we're at 89.4 as we sit today. So we're feeling really, really good. That jump from 80 to 89. We're picking on that 90%. I like this visual too, because I always like to look at the same group of kids. I think, we compare this year's second graders to last year's second graders. Well, those aren't the same kids, but this is. So if you look at the students who are currently in third grade, this is where they were last year in second grade. About half of them had passed. And if you look to where they are as of today, we're almost to that 90%. So, yeah. We did some things I want to recognize. We had a lot of teachers that signed up to tutor students. That was something new we added this year. So we have some of these kiddos that have been staying after school 1 or 2 nights a week just for that extra boost. And so I think that has helped, and the reading curriculum that they have, it's their second year on that too. And every year you teach your new curriculum, you get a little bit better at it. And so, yeah, we're proud of our folks and excited to share where they are right now.
Thank you. That's really good data. It's good to see the progress over time.
Yeah.
It's definitely moving in the right direction.
I really hope that, we're gonna see, like, I can't wait to see how this affects junior high and high school.
100%.
But at the same time, we have this for these third graders. What are we doing for the fourth, fifth, sixth, as far as retention? Because if they get past third grade and then they fall back behind, then we've just lost the momentum. And so even if it's not state required, what kind of systems can we put in place so that we're holding our students accountable? I'm all for that. I would help in any way that I could, because once they lose a year or two, they're not making it up.
Well, and they give up.
Really hard.
Yeah.
The older they get discouraged. It's hard to keep them moving toward it. I will say the junior high next year is putting in some intervention time in their schedule for reading and for math. And so that will be something new that will enable us once kids get to that level. Because usually, some in elementary up to fourth grade, you have a little flexibility to pull kids in and work with them in groups. But once they get to fifth and they're switching from room to room, it's difficult and it's almost impossible, the junior, senior high, to do that. But we have, Mr. Rich has really been working on a schedule so we can offer a little bit of intervention for those kiddos there to try to help boost them up.
I mean, if they're really struggling, then, you're not going to be able to do that elective. You're going to have to do some.
Yeah, we have that built in for our third, fourth, fifth, and sixth grade next year as well. So I guess to answer your question, 3 through
You already are. Yeah.
3 through 7 will all have some intervention time, and I think 8 as well. So yeah.
All right, item D, we have a special education cooperative.
No real formal talk other than to just bring you up to speed on something I've mentioned a couple times this year. Currently, we're a part of the Delaware Blackford Special Ed Co-op, which is based out of Muncie Community Schools. Blackford has been a part of that for 30 some years. But as we continue to look at services and look at just some changes that have occurred over time, a group of superintendents in Delaware County, along with myself, have been having conversations about creating a new structure to deliver some of those services. So for us at Blackford County Schools, we provide the majority of services for all of our special needs students in-house. But we rely on a cooperative type approach to provide services like physical therapy and occupational therapy that may be parts of a student's IEP. We have students who at times, we have at times students with blind, low vision, or deaf, hard of hearing that we may not have someone licensed to teach, that we have to cooperatively teach. And so there's conversation about creating a new structure that pulls away from Muncie Community Schools that serves, services in a little different manner moving forward. This would be the creation of a new entity to provide those services away from Muncie Community Schools. A lot of schools, slightly bigger than us, do this all internally. Jay County is, to my knowledge, not a part of any co-op. Huntington is not a part of a co-op, but smaller schools like where we're at, you just need some partnerships to do that. So we have a group of schools that will be working actually with Church, Hittle, and Antrim to look at drafting an agreement and a consideration. We have a 1-year notice that we have to give to withdraw from the co-op, and that has to be issued by July 1. So I've got some meetings over the next couple of weeks, but I anticipate bringing a motion to the board or bringing a recommendation to the board to leave that co-op and join a new interlocal that would be created with participating districts. And I don't want to list districts because we're all talking about this now, with our boards currently.
but I've provided a couple email updates, and if there's specific information or specific questions you have, we'll make sure I answer those in June. So any thoughts or questions about that?
The ones you're looking at going with, it's going to provide all this services, like I'm thinking more PTOT speech,
We're
right?
going to have to create that. So we're going to have to hire people. We're going to have to hire a
That can be
director.
problematic finding.
It's
for
very
school
problematic. So let me give you an example of that now, even within this cooperative. So the cooperative 2 years ago wasn't able to, I'm looking at Sherry because this happens right outside Sherry's office all the time. They weren't able to locate an occupational therapist. So they called me and said, Mr. Yenser, we're not providing occupational therapy to Blackford County schools. So we had to independently contract. 2 years ago, the district spent $61,000 on OT. This year, we're on pace to spend $140,000 with the same number of kids. So we believe collectively, we're going to have those
I'll
issues.
say that group's going to have a full time that floats from location to location.
And multiple quotas and, you know, and those things. But basically it'd be as we envision it today, a year-long build up and ramp up, because we have a year where we have to stay committed to that agreement and then, you know, build that structure. And there may be times that we have to work with staffing agencies. That's the reality of these special services in schools in Indiana right now, and varying pools. You know, anybody who, like, for example, you know, in your line of work, you know, working in schools is typically not as lucrative as it is working in clinics and hospitals and those types of things. But we may have to re-examine our thinking on that as we go through, as we continue to, we may be better off.
That's just one thing I think.
Pooling
if you're going
together.
to This group, you need to make sure everybody goes in eyes wide open, that
Very
this
much
could be
so.
a very big hurdle to get.
It really
Fine.
is. That, you know, staffing in these areas is very tough. And it really is, you know, for us, it's about kind of one of the fundamental pieces that's driving that is because of the way the agreement is currently set up, we subsidize the director of Muncie Community Schools, who on the side runs the school co-op, you know, and our desire is to have a full-time co-op director, because as we decline in enrollment, and, you know, we have a director of student services, as we can, you know, if we continue to decline enrollment and we look at different models, if you compare that to, just for example, Daleville or Cowan, a school of 750 that's part of that group, they don't have the capacity to have their own internal director. So they rely heavily on that. We don't do that. We don't rely real heavily on them currently, and won't in the near foreseeable future. But we do think the person running that ought to have the co-op as their first lens, not their second lens, if that makes any sense.
And don't misunderstand me. I'm completely in favor of it. I just,
You're 100.
this would probably might run into.
100% right. For every one of those things that I just listed, PT, OT, school psych, speech has been tough. Speech has been tough. Some of the schools in the co-op don't have SLPs like we do. They share them between a couple corps. But I think this group creates a better, or potentially a good collective group to solve these. We all have these problems, but we want to have equal share in solving, you know. Nothing easy about it. But again, just to remind on timeline, we would have to notify by July 1, and then that would give a year in that, and in the background over the year we build, and the next year withdrawal. But I'm going to come to you in June and ask you to support a recommendation to move. So if in between that you have any questions, definitely give, and I can do something more formal in the next meeting.
All right, how about wind damage?
If you'd have told me the amount of time since that windstorm 2 months ago that I've spent on the phone with the insurers and roofing companies and those things, I'd like to have some of that time back. And in your places is a map of the high school to try and orient, you know, to the right is the front. So where we had the damage back in March, and also it's an email from Brennan Baker. It's been a few years since Brennan's been back in front of us, but that's moisture management. We're working through a couple things. So along roof 4, you see that red edge on the upper left of the gym. There's trim. There's black trim over all that got damaged that they quickly bolted up. We feel like that's going to be covered by insurance pretty effectively. The part I sent you a video about that's a little scary is the old JROTC gym, which in that case has got the yellow rectangle on it. If you can see it there, everybody right here. That's the video I sent you that was bouncing up and down during the school day. We had to evacuate this part of the gym. So this has been reduced down. We feel very comfortable that this is going to land in insurance coverage. This area right here over the pool is where all of the fight has become. We put this roof on the pool in 2022. It had a manufacturer's warranty. Wind speed peaks that day were 68 miles an hour. Our warranty was up to 72, but there's a lot of pointing fingers about who's doing what and the quality of repair. So what they initially proposed, what Carlisle, which is the group that is the manufacturer of the roofing system, proposed was to go through, this is an EPDM roof, a rubber roof that's basically been glued, prepared, there's insulation, all those things, and prepared. But what they proposed as a repair was that every 2 feet drill holes through that. That's right above the pool. We have the vapor barrier that's underneath the wall. This is just an unworkable fix. But as soon as the warranty company said, we're going to drill this and the warranty will stand behind the warranty, we'll do this fix and we'll continue to honor the 20-year warranty on it, the insurance company said, we aren't paying for it, because their warranty is going to fix it. So Brendan Baker and I, Brendan from Moisture Management, our roofing consultant, we've tried to hammer him down. Brendan's done a really great job. So we've got them to come back and they're going to cut out areas. It's not going to be the complete roof, but they're going to glue areas in. He's getting more comfortable with that. I'm going to have him come back in June and talk to you guys about where that stands. There is, before I have you look at one other picture, there's a gutter along the Sutton Center that came down during that, but we've had multiple issues with that over the last couple of years. Our guys have tacked it back up, it bent, we creased it once, but then turn it into insurance and all of those things. The real suggestion here, and it's tacked back up in place and insurance won't touch a replacement, but his encouragement to us is to look at replacing that gutter. It's been damaged multiple times. It's been tacked up there. We had a little bit of a leak from the edge, the far southern edge of that. So there's a planning estimate. We're starting to bid that work out, but that will be outside of insurance coverage. Okay.
What's damaged? The wind?
The wind multiple times. So we had it, I can't remember when, it's been over 2 years ago. We had a wind event where it separated from the building, but didn't come down, and we've tacked it back up and bent. There's an issue a little bit. The way the hangers on that were designed, the hangers come over the top of that. Brendan feels, that they should have been a gutter that supports, from underneath. We can leave it, but I think we ought to take a hard look at replacing that gutter system with the way that it's redesigned. The gut, I guess there's multiple ways you can fix those gutters, and the way that we've fixed it allows the gutter to have more movement at the bottom. And so John and his crew have tacked it up there a couple different times, but we had 2 downspouts come back and an area separate during the wind event, but there was already been, the insurance is not saying that was solely caused by the wind event. So it's something that we want to take a look at.
So I'd say if we're going to fix it, don't fix it the way it was originally done.
No, we would. So
That's a problem.
yeah, we're getting 3 quotes to change the hangers to be underneath, and move that. I'm going to bring him back.
What's a dynamic? How long is that?
What?
The Sutton Center.
What's how long is it?
Yeah.
I don't have that off the top of my head. It's well, how long's the basketball court? Ed?
Or 84 feet.
Oh, it's 84 plus how wide's the basketball court?
48.
84 plus 48,
Call it
add another
150.
30. Yeah, because there's some on top of that.
Well,
40.
why, so 48.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just seems high.
We're gonna get a look at it.
That's probably it's over 6 inches
6
wide
inch.
though, right?
It's a massive.
That might even be 8.
Beth, would you go to that picture on the second slide deck? Okay. There's one area that's the JROTC hallway. No action today. We're just talking about what's probably coming. Okay, so we did if you remember, across 3 different bond projects over a 5-year period, we did virtually every roof in the district but one. Okay. And this is that hallway that runs, we're looking down from the Sutton Center, and this is the hallway that was created when you built this auxiliary gym in 1999. It's outside the building. Everybody with me? Okay. So somewhere just prior to my arrival, this roof came up, and you see this fix. This is the fix they wanted to do over the pool. But when we did the assessment back in 2018 or 19 to kick off this work, moisture management came back to us and said we thought this roof had about 10 years of life, and that was 2018 that we did that. Or in 2016, this section of roof, yeah, this is a drone shot of what it looks like right now. We've got all this ballast holding this over the pool roof prior to the repair. But this part came up and ballooned up as well. Okay, the insurance is going to pay for this roof, but this roof didn't leak, but is older and it's had a massive replacement. So in the email that you see, he's estimating we want to take a hard look at spending another $15,000 if we're going to be on this roof and take new roof the whole way length. They're going to repair that to new. But to me, I think that is good money.
Yeah.
For us to look at spending, because we're already there.
One good water leak will cost
What-
you more than that.
What's
I
that?
said one good water leak will cost you more than that.
So it's a mess, guys. I mean, we really fought. I do think we're at a better outcome right now, but we haven't got full agreement on the final fix from Carlisle on that roof. The manufacturer's warranty process has been real slow and it's held everything else up. So we're continuing to advocate that. Hopefully in June, can get that all wrapped up. Questions on that?
Thanks for staying after him.
You want me to call him?
I did.
Call the bleacher guys. I'll call these guys.
I was at I'll tell you a story after. I ran into the football bleacher guy at a conference lately. He remembered you.
Yeah. But it did.
All right. Any public comments? Yes, ma'am.
So 9 years ago, I would sit here and rehearse everything I wanted to say, but I've not done that, so bear with me. And I can already feel the emotion, so I'm apologizing. This has been the 9 years that I have been Federation president, and it has just been an honor and a privilege to represent the teachers. And I have told you numerous times how lucky we are to have a board and superintendent, everybody top down. It's just an amazing place to work here. I sit at state meetings and I don't have much to say because I don't have anything horror. You know, you hear the horrible horror stories of the bigger schools, and I just sit back and I say, we don't have that. We have a board that supports us. I just wanted you all to know that I have finished my run as president. My daughter-in-law said, "Are you going to cry?" And I said, "No." The new officers have been named. Julia Hyatt will be your new president. She's actually watching. Rachel Shadia will be the vice president, elementary. Mike Jones will be secondary vice president. Treasurer will be Kylie Redford, and you'll get to meet all of these guys later. And then Lisa Davis will still stay our secretary. But I have every belief that they will carry on as the Federation has. You know, we work to support our teachers. We work with all of you. It's an amazing relationship that we have built, and we are proud of that. If I'm proud of anything, it's the relationship that we have all built, whether good times, bad times, medium times, who knows. But on behalf of myself, I just wanted to thank all of you for just always being there to support the teachers. And to let you know that I'm handing you off into the great hands of a new team. I'm still around for a year to mentor, so I'll be probably popping into meetings, but I'm going to try to not talk and just keep my mouth shut. But I will be there, but I just have every confidence that this new team is going to carry on what I picked up from Kathy Willman back in the day. That's a name from the past. Just carrying on our belief that, you know, it's a great place to be and we want to keep it that way.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your work.
Yeah. I just want to say over the 9 years, you know, just the way you conduct yourself, your professionalism, working with the administration. And I think we all have the same thing, same goal in mind is to, you know, to strengthen that bond that we have and make sure everybody's taken care of. So we work for all the goals that we're after anyway, right? To educate the kids and get that product out the door. So much appreciated. And congratulations for your tenure, and don't be a stranger.
Just be a speech therapist now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss working with Sherry. She's been a valuable partner. She's been instrumental in a lot of the things that we've done together with the agreement. You know, sometimes in some districts when you're trying to accelerate the bottom of the salary schedule the way we have over the last decade, you get a little fight from the GGs in the room. Is that your name? GG? What's your grandma name?
Gigi.
I knew it.
Sorry.
The GGs in the room sometimes fight, you know, accelerating the bottom of the schedule, but she's been very
I think that was
instrumental.
a translation of the old people in the room.
That's a nice way of trying to explain it.
We were talking about grandkids. You're in good company, but definitely appreciate Sherry's leadership. And we've had some tough behind the scenes moment with you know, different situations, and she's been a good advocate for teachers, for kids. And I totally understand why you don't want to be the Federation president anymore, but I wish you still were. I've enjoyed working with you.
Did you say that sounded expensive for that Sutton Center gutter? For a gutter, yeah. What was the price on that? What?
22 to 20 to 30, 28 to 30.
What do you think?
It sounds right.
Yeah,
Sounds right. I was going through my mind what I thought it would be. I thought
What do you
12.
think it'd be? I asked him to give me safe budget numbers so we didn't get sticker shock when we got quotes.
That's safe.
I think you just volunteered to help. But you can't.
I think we just reguttered our whole house for less than that, though.
You got a gutter guy?
It was pretty reasonable. I just didn't get him. So,
Well, you got to consider
Not
there's a difference between
residential.
residential and what we had.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're right. Oh, I get
it's
that.
twice the size.
but even so,
Yeah, I don't disagree.
In my mind, 12 grand. Sure.
I get Phil on a ladder out there.
Hey, I'm cheap. I'm still living back in
For that hospital bills.
About some drone pictures.
We did drone pictures earlier. I think it actually got printed in the wrong spot.
How about any comments?
Just recently during Teacher Appreciation Week, we recognized 3 Teachers of the Year, one at each building. We want to thank Mrs. Wallace, Mrs. Tucker, and Mrs. Shadio for their great work. I hope you saw that all over Facebook. We definitely appreciated that. Another couple comments. When we were doing the iRead thing, definitively the work of our teachers and our instructional aides and all those folks in the building, the administration. I do want to give a hat tip to Leslie Moulton. Leslie's coming in as our assistant superintendent in charge of instruction, curriculum, and assessment. She's asking some very critical questions, you know, of how we're doing some things, and I think we're seeing some early results of that as well, but we're not taking anything away from the teachers that made it happen or anything, but I appreciate that. Also want to congratulate Leslie. She just finished her EDS and is now an officially licensed superintendent in the state of Indiana. And she's been a great add to the team. So thank you guys for your support of that. Reminder that graduation is the 29th. We'd like you there at 6:45. Phil, find your suit coat.
Find one.
Okay. And we'll graduate the seniors that night. And I think that's it.
You want to stay at what time?
6:45 would be great.
must have missed that if you said that.
Yeah, 7 o'clock takeoff.
Is your picks in?
Yeah.
Who you want? All right, any board comments?
Yeah, I want to thank, we don't get to say this enough, but I want to thank the teachers and the staff as well, because, I still think we have some of the best teachers ever. I'm really excited about some of the teachers, and I'm excited about the morale. I think the morale is at an all-time high, even towards the end of the year. I know when DP left, a lot of the teachers were really like, oh no, now what? Because he came in quick, fast, everyone loved him, but you're doing an amazing job. And I've heard a lot of good things from the teachers, especially in our elementary. They are super excited about what they see you doing. So I don't know if you get to hear that, but I definitely get to hear that from the teachers. So that's been really exciting. And then finally, for the parents, I love when we get parents to come to school board. It's very rare. It's very rare. Maybe in my 10 years, we've had maybe, I don't know, 10 times that we've had somebody show up, but it is very, very rare.
That is so shocking.
Yeah, but I'm very appreciative, because we want to hear from parents, and I know that this team wants to hear, and I just think it's exciting when parents come and ask those questions, even if they're difficult. It challenges us. So,
But the way to solve the problem is not on social media, it's to come talk to us.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I did reach out.
So
I did reach out to a teacher because I was violating our cell phone policy, and I'll share it with you as soon as we're done. What they said, just so you, because I was just curious.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Very good. Good one. Good.
I'm excited about the cell phone thing. Carmel schools, my family goes there, and they allow free range of cell phone. So it's like they're getting a lot of pushback with that. People don't realize it's a new state. It's the state.
Yeah.
They'll know next year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And Karen kind of made that comment. We're always tiptoe around this, but respectfully, a lot of parents demand, that much interaction. And I think it's not great for their kids. I think that
It's not great for me.
yeah,
I hate that. It drives me insane.
but it's interesting just to see folks' reactions to it. But I think we're in good shape.
Yeah, I did not realize until recently that was going to affect. So
I think it's great.
I think that's a great thing.
Yeah.
You're supposed to give me hers.
Hope there's no objections. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. Thank you. And do you want to